Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so today we're doing something a bit different. We're taking a single, pretty scathing film review. It's for a 2012 straight-to-DVD movie called Nazis at the Center of the Earth. And we're using it to unpack, well, a pretty reliable thing in show business.
Ah.
The whole low-budget rip-off phenomenon.
Yeah, it's almost like cinematic physics, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
Newton's third law. For every big blockbuster action, there's an opposite, and let's be honest, usually very unequal reaction. That quick, low-budget imitation, the mockbuster.
Exactly. So our mission here is to look at this specific film, which, interestingly, came out right after Iron Sky, that Nazis on the Moon movie.
Yeah.
Got some buzzing, and see how it basically lays out the whole business strategy. We're talking speed, that tension between budget and actually being creative, and just the cold, hard economics of trying to grab eyeballs or clicks, really.
And what's so interesting right off the bat is why a movie like this even gets made. It's generally not about, artistic passion. It's about speed, getting it to market fast. When a kind of wild idea like Nazis in space, or in this case, Nazis under the Earth, seems like it might make money, that whole low-budget world. And yeah, companies like The Asylum are big players here. They scramble, they rush to make something similar. Sometimes before the big movie it's copying is even gone from cinemas.
Right, The Asylum films.
Yeah.
So for anyone maybe not familiar, you're talking about a company or type of company whose entire model is built around that exact window. Yeah.
Precisely, yeah. Their specialty is high concept, super fast production, straight to DVD, or these days, streaming. And the key, really, the main strategy is search engines. SEO. They pick a title that sounds really close to the blockbuster. Think like Transmorphers instead of Transformers, or Atlantic Rim, not Pacific Rim. So when you, the viewer, search for the big hit, boom, the mockbuster pops up right next to it. It feels a bit cynical, maybe, but honestly, it's a really effective way to pull in some revenue in today's, algorithm-driven world.
That makes total sense. So, okay, Iron Sky happens. The market apparently needs Nazis at the center of the Earth. Let's just quickly touch on the actual story premise they came up with, because it sounds, wonderfully nuts, even if the film itself apparently wasn't great.
Oh, it starts totally B-movie classic. You're in Antarctica, remote research station, standard stuff. Some staff are out on the ice getting samples, and they stumble on this weird metal shape under the surface. But before they can even radio back or anything, zap, they're grabbed by these, shadowy figures.
And, of course, you need the shifty guy. Enter Dr. Adrian Reistad, the blonde team leader who naturally tries to prevent anyone from going to look for the missing scientists. Very suspicious. But the search happens anyway, and they find this cave entrance leading down.
Right. And here's the big hook, the pulpy bit that, sells the concept. They go down,
Right.
and they don't find more ice cave. They emerge into this, impossible tropical jungle deep under the Antarctic ice. And the shadowy figures, surprise, they're actual Nazis hiding out since World War II ended.
And just to really lean into the absurdity, the main bad guy is none other than Dr. Joseph Mengele. Still alive, called the White Angel in the film, apparently. He's leading this Nazi group, and he needs something from those researchers they just kidnapped.
It's a fantastic premise, isn't it? Just on paper. It's sensational, high concept. You've got history, horror, sci-fi. It's perfect for a shocking thumbnail image, which, again, is kind of the whole point of making it in the first place.
But, okay, the great idea seems to be where the good stuff ended, according to this review we're looking at. The reviewer jumps straight to the production value. And the first dig is actually pretty funny. The title itself is a lie.
Yeah, I loved this part of the review. And the movie's called Nazis at the Center of the Earth, right? But the reviewer jokes it should really be called Nazis about 70 feet below the ground. It immediately tells you everything about the gap between the marketing promise and the actual scope delivered.
Yeah, the review doesn't hold back at all. Just flat out says the film looks terrible.
Yeah.
Apparently, zero thought went into how it looked overall. And yeah, they probably dumped most of the effects money into the big finale scene, but even that was just described as badly done. Ouch!
Now, this is where you always get the budget excuse, right? It's the classic defense for, bad-looking movies. And the reviewer acknowledges it. Sure, these films don't have much money to work with, but they really push back hard on that being a valid excuse. They argue pretty forcefully that creativity and skill goes a long way.
Okay, wait, let me just push back a little here, play devil's advocate. For this specific kind of movie, this economic model, where speed and just getting clicks are number one, Isn't the art part always going to be sacrificed? I mean, if you make it for, say, 200 grand in 6 weeks and it gets enough clicks to turn a profit, does the person funding it actually care if it looks awful?
And that's the core conflict, absolutely. But the reviewer uses a really great comparison to kind of take that argument apart. They bring up Gareth Edwards' film Monsters, also made on a tiny budget, I think around $500,000, but through really smart shooting, great atmosphere, clever design, it looked and felt huge, like a proper blockbuster.
Ah, okay. That's the key difference then. Monsters used creativity to solve budget problems, not just like cheap CGI.
Exactly. So the reviewer's point is basically, look, there's no real excuse for how bad Nazis at the center of the Earth looked. If others with similar money problems can make something that looks good and feels creative, it really shows the difference between just not having enough money and maybe just not having enough, I don't know, effort or imagination, especially when you're rushing something out the door.
And the problems weren't just visual, were they? The script, the whole story structure, just as bad, apparently.
Yeah.
We're talking like total cardboard cutout characters, no development whatsoever. You probably know who's getting experimented on by Mengele 2 minutes after they show up.
Yeah, the criticism of the dialogue was particularly sharp. Scenes described as stilted and often quite dull, just dull. And the lines themselves were apparently so bad the actors looked embarrassed saying them. Can you imagine? Those rap parties must have been pretty quiet.
Right. I mean, if the actors visibly don't want to be there, what hope does the audience have?
Yeah.
And the pacing. This becomes a huge issue when you remember the movie's only 89 minutes long. That's not long at all. Yet the reviewer says it actually drags.
Hmm.
An 89-minute movie about Nazis under the Antarctic ice should absolutely fly by if it's even halfway exciting.
That really is the ultimate failure, isn't it? Taking a concept that should be pure, crazy fun and somehow making it boring. It just proves that if the writing's weak and the pacing's off, it makes every other problem, the cheap sets, the bad effects, feel 10 times worse.
Okay, so let's get to the so what then. Why does this deep dive into one bad movie matter? Well, the review basically says, look, even if you accept these are just throwaway entertainment, Nazis at the center of the Earth didn't even clear that super low bar.
Yeah, it's the danger of the mockbuster model. When it gets lazy or complacent, it just recycles old ideas poorly, and the end result is simply boring. Think about that. A boring film about Joseph Mengele leading a secret underground Nazi army. That takes some doing. It's an incredible failure of execution, despite the wild premise.
And this brings up a bigger point the reviewer makes, something beyond just this one film. It's about the industry itself. They talk about how totally disheartening it is, for all the genuinely talented writers and directors out there struggling for years just to get a tiny budget for an original idea.
Exactly. And meanwhile, they see money flowing into stuff like this, content that's often poorly made, rushed. But it gets funded because the concept is easy to market for a quick return. It really lays bare that often, in certain parts of the business, profitability through, search engine luck trumps actual quality or creativity. Sad, but probably true. So the review's final verdict: simple, brutal, a badly put together, dull film. Avoid. But then there's that one last little detail that's just perfect. It sums up the whole cynical business model we've been talking about.
Oh yeah, the trailer. The reviewer points out that the trailer, the 2-minute ad designed purely to sell you on that crazy high concept L, is actually better than the whole 89-minute movie it's selling. The marketing did its job perfectly. The actual product it was marketing. Almost an afterthought.
Wow. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. What does our deep dive into Antarctic Nazis really tell us about this whole low-budget movie world?
Well, first we saw that super fast market reaction. Iron Sky gets attention, boom. Here comes a similar concept, built for speed, maybe not so much for quality.
And we definitely saw the huge importance placed on those sensational search engine-friendly titles, even if, the title wildly oversells the reality of what's on screen, 70 feet below ground indeed. And maybe most importantly, that Monsters comparison really drives home the point. A small budget doesn't have to mean terrible quality. It's not an automatic excuse for, lazy filmmaking.
Right. So this whole thing, this rip-off model, it really makes you think about, well, us.
Yeah.
The audience, the consumers. If the main goal of making a movie like this is just purely financial, get those clicks, make back the small investment fast, does
Yeah.
the actual quality matter at all to the people funding it, as long as just enough people are intrigued by the thumbnail?
It's a pretty stark lesson, isn't it, about how content works now, that relationship between the big hit and the quick ripoff. So maybe the next time you're scrolling through streaming late at night and you see one of those weirdly titled, high concept B movies, ask yourself, am I actually interested in the film itself or just the outrageous idea being sold to me? And in this world of endless algorithmic recommendations, is there even really a difference anymore? Something to chew on, perhaps.